Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Global Intelligence Update. And we've got a great guest with us, as always, Dr. Kate Raynes-Goldie. And for those that don't know who Kate is, Kate specializes in supporting different leaders, making a difference with human-optimized and future-focused advisory, coaching, facilitation, and training services. An internationally recognized human connection designer and a PhD-trained business anthropologist, Kate is the Chief Connection Officer at the Up New company and a long-time innovation columnist for Business News. She is a certified facilitator for Lego Serious Play and the creator of SUPERCONNECT, a power add-on to Lego Serious Play that fosters better conversations and improves business outcome through inclusion, psychological safety, and human connection. With over 20 years of experience as a global speaker, including appearances at TEDx, Perth, SXSW, which is both in Austin and in Sydney, and serving as a TEDx speaker coach, Kate has been honored as one of WA's 40s under 40 and named the Australian Computer Society Professional of the Year. She is also an accredited mental health first aider and a professional member of the Professional Speaking Australia. Wow, Kate. Is there anything I missed?
No, I think you got it all. Thanks. Thanks, Chris.
That's very impressive. And welcome. Thanks for joining us here at the Global Intelligence Update.
It's my pleasure. And great to see some familiar faces too.
Yeah. So just before we started the session, guys, if you're listening online or you're listening a bit later, I was saying the perfect search optimization candidate has to be Kate. If you Google Kate, you'll see what comes up. It's everything that she's busy with. Everything's happened in the past. It's just amazing. And I would encourage you, just go Google her. It's really, really, really impressive. So yeah, let's get this session started. How to thrive as a different leader. And I think that topic really touches with everyone listening, everyone on the live call or even on the offline call. So Kate, let me jump into it. What is a different leader exactly?
So a different leader, I would say, is someone who's had a lived experience of doing things differently and maybe experiencing being othered. So often it can be someone who's neurodivergent. It can be a woman who's working in tech or another field that there's not a lot of women. It could be a thought leader in the sustainability space. It could be someone who's a Lego Serious Play facilitator. And so there's a commonality between all of those people that you're doing something new, you're different. And often there can be that experience of being othered, which can lead to imposter syndrome. And so when you're thinking about how to thrive as a different leader, you have to think about managing the mindset as much as the strategy, because the usual approaches aren't necessarily going to work for you.
Wow, no, it's a really interesting topic. And yeah, like I said, I think everyone's really, really connected on this. And if you guys have any questions, please drop it in chat. We'll get to it. Andrea saying hi everyone from Brisbane, Australia. Hi, Andrea. And Caroline also joining us in from Nairobi. Leadership Institute, interested in learning more about leadership. Well, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Welcome, Caroline. So on talking about thriving, what are the unique challenges and needs of different leaders when it comes to businesses or business?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of overlap between, the conscious leaders that are in the circle of excellence, because that's one of those things that it's not just about profit, it's about purpose. So I think another commonality with being a different leader is it's different leaders making a difference. There's that need to not just have abundance, but also to make an impact. And so it's really thinking about and being open to new ways of doing things and getting past, I think, the should. So a lot of the clients that I work with, they've been in kind of like more mainstream business programs and are getting advice that isn't working for them. And then what happens is that they will end up doing that again and not working. And then it becomes something that's, I'm doing something wrong. And it's kind of like that definition of insanity, which is you try to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So I think it's really like managing the fact and honoring the fact that that the usual approaches may not work for you, and being okay with that. Because sometimes it's like, and I speak, speaking from my clients, but also my own experience going through this, and my business partner as well. We're definitely both different leaders on a number of different fronts. Being okay with having to find your own way, and putting that stake in the ground and saying, this is how I am and I'm different. And even though everybody's telling you this one thing, you have to kind of trust yourself to find that different way of doing things.
Wow, yeah, no, that's a great answer, and I think we all connect with that, Kate. And then what is the standard approaches? Like for example, an accelerator, incubator, coaching, don't work for different leaders. So how can they make things worse, by doing them?
So I'm thinking with some client conversations I've had recently, especially around. So I do a lot of work with women in fields, non-traditional fields, especially tech, women who are late diagnosed ADHD or neurodivergent. So I actually found out I'm late diagnosed ADHD. And so that often will come with years of being treated a certain way and being internalizing messages that you're sent. But then you'll be in sort of a mainstream, let's say, I'm thinking about a specific client conversation recently, being in a, say, tech accelerator or a tech program and getting advice from people who haven't had that lived experience of what it's like to be a woman in tech, what it's like to be neurodivergent, what it's like to have that lived experience of, being told maybe, you're if you just had more focus and more discipline, then you're getting advice that's well-intentioned, but it isn't necessarily what you need to hear. So thinking about a specific experience recently where a client was being told that she just needed to go to these events and go to these networking events and connect with these people. And she wasn't being taken seriously because there's a lot of sexism, unfortunately, in the tech world. And so that was kind of reinforcing some of the negative self-talk. But then also finding herself in situations where they were unsafe. So situations where there's drinking and there was a guy that was behaving inappropriately and got her into a situation that was pretty unsafe. And she told people about it and they're like, oh, he doesn't really behave like that. He was just drinking. And so it's all of these experiences that are overlapping these different layers of difference. And, she just wants to bring her business and her work into the world. And, having to deal with all this extra stuff. And so the shift there is to go, okay, well, maybe it's actually about finding a network or community that's going to be supportive. So if you're doing something that's overlapping with tech, maybe it's tech and something else, let's say tech and sustainability, maybe it's about going to those events and that community where it's going to be safer for you. And also it's going to be more supportive. You're going to be taken seriously. So it's just being able to not have to go to those spaces. Because a lot of times, especially thinking about women in tech, it's like we need to get more women in tech. We need them to be more confident. And it's not actually about, well, maybe people should say, I'm not going to go to those events anymore until they're safe. So giving permission to do things differently and not just feel like I have to do this, but finding things that work for you.
And yeah, on that then, we are talking about how to thrive as a different leader. And clearly you are a different leader as well, Kate. So why are you a different leader?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, probably if you've Googled me, you see I've done a lot of work in, so someone, Andrea said in the chat, finding your tribe is really, really important. So finding those people who are going to uplift you and take you seriously and not, not gaslight you if you said something that's happened to you, not put you in a situation that's negative. So thanks so much for sharing that. And so for me, it's been a number of different layers, being a woman in tech for a very long time. So ever since I can remember, it's been very challenging to be a woman in tech, being late diagnosed divergent as well, and being a new Australian. So there's a few different things there that give me that experience of being different, but also wanting to make a difference, and that, you know, I'm not just here to for profit, it's for purpose as well.
Yeah, no, that's why all of us are here. And I think that's why all of us connect in such a good community. Let me just get quickly to chat. Andrea saying, cool personal brand strategy. Yeah, clearly it works. Philippe, thanks for sharing that. So it's a quote from Albert Einstein. Awesome. And the quote is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, or basically different outcomes.
Yeah.
Andrea also sharing, considering the wide approach to leadership that is being communicated in the marketplace, where does the proverbial leader begin their journey on becoming a conscious profit for purpose, creative, forward-thinking, balanced, and everything else leader? Wow. Andrea always hitting the good topics, the good
That's a
questions.
good question.
Yeah. And yeah, attempt to find your tribe. That's definitely what we're all about, eh?
I
Being
think
in
that's
your
almost Andrea's answering her own question there, which I think is one of the first things, is finding those people who are going to uplift you.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
If I can just jump in here, Chris, the reason why I ask that question, Kate, is because leadership, as we know, has always been a hot topic of consulting conversation around business for the last 30, 40 odd years. And I sometimes do wonder whether we're the leader of a large multinational, or we're a leader of a 5 to 50 organization, or even if we're just beginning to attempt to be the leader of our own small business. We're being bombarded quite a lot with, you know, you've got to be considering to be a conscious leader, when it's like, what the heck does that mean? I'm alive, I'm awake, I've got a pulse, I'm conscious. And then, of course, there's that, you know, having that balance of not being too profit driven, but you've got to be purpose driven. It's like, okay, what does that actually mean? And then, of course, now we're moving into a phase of we've got to be creative and we've got to be innovative. And I kind of wonder, around the whole leadership conversation, when is enough, or when are we just not enough? And how do we determine when we are enough as a leader?
That is a very good question. And I think a lot of it is about, and this is again thinking about my own experience and with my clients, and it's really about trusting your intuition. And a lot of this is coming back to being able to trust your intuition. And we can get all of these, and this is a lot of, you know, kind of what I was saying earlier about, we can get all of these messages about how you have to be this way, the latest thing around what's, you know, innovation or being a conscious leader. And I think it's one, being discerning about who we take advice from, but also really coming back to that intuition. And I would say that's been a huge journey for me as well. And I think with helping my clients is helping them to come back, because I think we all know the answers to our own questions. And I think, you know, if you're a really good coach and a really good facilitator, what you're really doing is holding space for people to realize their own knowingness and their own answers. And I think the more that we can trust ourselves, and with all of the noise and the information and the advice that we're getting, and have also those trusted people in our tribe that we know, you know, those people that I think, you know, if we're going to look externally, it's people who are advice like it feels right to us when we're checking in with ourselves, but also people who actually have done the thing that they're advising on. So I think, you know, you get advice from people who either are bad at doing what they're doing, or they don't know actually what they're doing. And it's like, have you actually done that thing? Like, have you succeeded in the area that you're giving me advice on? And so I think that's the two things. It's just being really discerning about outside advice, but really almost discerning about our own intuition and our own knowingness. And that takes a lot, because I think we're all really, really intuitive and we all know, but it's just getting back to that. And a kind of a really left field way that I've found coming back to this myself is in my practice as a Lego serious play facilitator, which we can talk about. It's a great method if you're a different leader for facilitation. But what I found in it was that being a really good facilitator and being a good coach as well is around, as I said, holding space for people and being really clear with what you bring and not coming at it with an agenda, with an intention, but really just holding that space for what to come, what needs to come out. And so I've been training to become, and almost finished, I just need to do my last certification exam, but become an energy healer using biocranial sacral therapy and shamanism. And it's taught by this amazing woman who has taken a lot of the modalities that are that we use, but really brought it into, we think about, I want to remove the gender, but like yin, which is we sometimes see as the feminine, and yang is the masculine. And a lot of healing modalities are, and even, you know, coaching, I think, and the way that we go about things is yang, which is I know what to do, I'm going to tell you what to do, I'm going to fix you. Whereas this approach is really, let's lean back, let's open the space, and hold that space for that person. So my teacher jokes about it being the methodology of nothing. And the reason I talk about this is that I found it really powerful in actually my coaching and my facilitation, because it allows me to hold better space for people. And I talk about energetic safety. So we talk a lot about psychological safety, but this is, you know, checking in, doing grounding, making sure that people are bringing clear, they're not bringing stuff into the room that isn't going to serve the session, but also you as a facilitator. And so I would say this is like another thing that's a different approach, but that's what we need, right? We need, if you're a different leader, you need to, if you want a different result, you have to have different approaches. And so it's, I think, being open to, you know, things that are completely left field, right? Like this, or using Lego as a tool, which we can talk about if you'd like, but hopefully that answers your question, Andrea. Thank you.
Yeah, no, great question from Andrea and great answer. Well done. That was very good. So yeah, let's talk about Lego serious play, since you brought it up. If you don't mind sharing a little bit, basically, you know, how do you help different leaders? That's a good thing we can go on.
Yeah, well, we can talk about, I think we're all curious now about what Lego serious play is. So it is a tool that is really great for different leaders. Yeah. And so if you haven't heard of it, it is a methodology that was developed by the Lego group and 2 European business professors almost 30 years ago now. And it was originally designed as a method for improving business outcomes like strategy. And it uses Lego, and it's about the Lego, but it's not about the Lego, because it's really about how do you bring more possibility? How do you bring metaphor? How do you bring experimentation, imagination into the workplace? Because, you know, we traditionally see work and play is different. So how do we bring play back into the workplace? And so you're using Lego not to build cars and buildings, and not building from instruction, but from you're building metaphor and story and feeling and imagination and creativity. And so the way that it works is you're getting a prompt, and it's really as much about the questions as it is about anything else. But questions like the first kind of initiation activity when you're moving into this new way of using Lego is build a tower with you in it that says something about you. And just from that one prompt and what people create as a response to that is massive in terms of people getting an insight into who they are and who the other people are in the room are. And that's just the initiation activity. And then you go on to do all sorts of things around, you know, what's the goal, and then designing from the goal of the workshop. But the reason this is a really, really powerful tool is it levels the playing field of who's involved. So you can be neurodivergent, neurotypical, you can be whatever gender, you can be the CEO, you can be the new hire, you can be introvert, extrovert, everybody's leveled in terms of participation, and everybody's engaged, and really amazing things happen in that. So I spend a lot of time either running sessions or teaching people how to use the method. And I also use it in coaching as well. So it's a great tool, like so in speaker coaching, for example, build the first part of your talk, build the introduction, build the conclusion, build kind of the problem. And so you can actually use it to visualize what's going on in your brain and articulate it. So I think it's a very cutting edge tool, even though it's been around for 30 years, it's still quite out there. I actually had the pleasure of speaking to the co-creator, Johan Roos, yesterday for an article I'm writing for the Business News. But it's just quite fascinating to see him writing about when he first brought the method into the world in the 90s, how everybody thought he was insane. But we still we still think it's insane, bringing play into the workplace, which is unfortunate. But I think it's maybe, funnily enough, we're scared of it because it's so powerful. So yeah, that's one of my favorite ways to help different leaders. But everybody actually works for everybody, regardless of who you are.
Well, that's awesome. I think we all need to start playing with some more Lego in the office. Bring some more fun in. Guys, if you want to connect with Kate, I've just shared the link, her LinkedIn profile. Please check her out. Please send a connection out there. So yeah, very, very interesting on the Lego, I have to say. So yeah, on that then, what is the future for different leaders?
Well, I hope that I think the future is in different leaders, and I've seen a lot of shifts after COVID about a lot more openness to new ways of being and thinking and doing. I was at the International Lego Serious Play Conference at the beginning of October, and was really amazed to see that there are a lot of people who are doing Lego Serious Play, but also doing energy healing or shamanism. And I was really surprised. And there was one lady who was there who had a Lego tattoo and a Tai Kuan Yin, a Buddhist tattoo as well. And I was like, who else? Like, I thought that would be something only I would do. So I think the future is bright for different leaders. I think this is, we need a different future. We want a different future. And we're starting to see the value of this. And, regardless of if those in charge right now see value in it or not, things are shifting. And I think the younger generations as well are much more embracing and much more progressive of difference, to the point where maybe we won't be different anymore. Everybody will be different, and that will just be normal.
Yeah, well, that's a great saying. And I think we all can testify what worked in the 1900s, 99 won't work in the 20s, today. So yeah, we need to adapt, we need to change, and that's just the way forward. So guys, if you've got any questions, please just drop it in chat. Otherwise, I want to ask Dr. Kate, what is up next for you? What's in plan for the future?
I see what you did there with, what's up next. So we've just launched an online, so we do what's called SUPERCONNECT, which is an add-on to Lego Serious Play. And that's adding in things that maybe weren't so much of, in the way of thinking in the 90s when Lego Serious Play was developed. So things like trauma-informed practice and psychological safety and inclusion. And so all of these things around how you design sessions to make them even more powerful. And the point of that, the outcome of that, is it's really about helping to create more connection. So even though the method was originally developed for business strategy, it's a really powerful tool for connection and conversation and trust and better conversations. And so that's called SUPERCONNECT, and we've had people around the world who can't come to Perth wanting us to train them in that. So we've just launched online about a week ago, and we're almost 50% sold out. So that's a training that's happening next year in February. So if anybody's keen, it is by application only, largely just because we want to make sure that everybody there is, aligned and going to keep a safe space. So it's not like, do you have like 10 degrees or anything? It's like, are you a generous, kind human? So I'd say probably anybody in the circle of excellence would be a good candidate. But yeah, just get in touch with me for that.
Oh, awesome. Well, it sounds exciting, and congratulations on the launch.
Thank you.
We definitely have to check that out. SUPERCONNECT, guys. Google if you can. Otherwise, I see there's no questions. If you've got some questions and you want to unmute, you're more than welcome. I'll just give it a few seconds and see if anything pops up.
Kate, what's been one of your greatest lessons to date that has been such a big or a big aha moment in the style of leadership that you're bringing to the world?
Another really good question.
We have those on this side of the island.
There's a lot. There's a few. I feel like I have those. Just it's because of the amazing people I get to work with. There's so many times I'm just like, wow, blown away. But the one I think is one that comes again and again is getting rid of the should. And that's kind of going back to what we talked about earlier. And this is one of the amazing people I work with, who I think is also a Circle of Excellence member, Sahaja Springer, who has been a great coach and mentor to me. But we often have sessions where she'll write should and then cross it out on it. And that narrative of like, I should do this because this is what entrepreneurs do, or I should do this because this is what leaders do, or I should go to this event because someone told me to, or this is what I need to do. Being able to realize those shoulds, because sometimes it's really hard. We can't get outside of our own, heads. Sometimes we need someone else to remind us. But the more that we can get past that should and really connect back to, what is the right thing for me? It seems very simple, but I think often the most simple things are the most powerful. And yeah, I had that should with it crossed out on my fridge for quite some time, and it just was so freeing and so liberating. And I think that's a lesson that I've had again and again. And there's like many layers of the should that I'm getting rid of. But I think that's the big freedom for people is if we want to do something different, we have to get past the should, because otherwise we'll just keep doing the same things again and just feel crap about it.
And what have you learned so far through this new phase of Kate that you're moving into, which is the energy healing and bringing it back to a sense of real self-presence? What's been, I guess, one of the biggest aha learning moments for you in that?
I think it's that I'm really surprised at how ready the world is for it. Because I feel it's like, meeting these other amazing women at this Lego conference who are also doing, like, one of them is like, I'm learning to become a somatic therapist. The other one's a shaman. And just seeing that that's becoming much more. I mean, I think still I do keynotes for corporate still, and still reminded that there is, it's not everything is shifted, but there's a lot of people at the forefront who are really ready. And in the SUPERCONNECT and the Lego Serious Play training, I added in the energetic safety. So doing things like using, things like smudging and energetic mists and space clearing, which I think is pretty woo. I mean, I've been into this stuff for many, many years, but we ran it for a bunch of Scrum masters and agile experts, more of the people that I thought were not going to be interested, but they loved it. And so that, for me, that was like, okay, the world is ready for this kind of stuff. And that surprises me, but also just makes me feel really happy. Big thumbs up.
I actually, I can't remember who it was at the Business Bali School, Chris, but someone actually mentioned Lego Serious Play, and I got super excited because it actually took me back to how we used to do facilitation. Was always done through play. It was always through creation and creativity. So yeah, I'm super excited to know more, Dr. Kate, and to see. I think my team might be interested in Lego Serious Play, guys. Want to go play Lego? I'm getting big thumbs ups from these guys as well. That's good.
Sounds good.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thanks, Andrew. I really appreciate the questions and just the interactions. So yeah, if
let's talk, Andrea.
Yeah. Looks like chat is good. Philippe just saying, good to see you, Kate. Thanks for the presentation. And also Andrea just on the previous comment saying it's all about the Lego. Yeah. Integrating energy, space, healing, light, and self is magical. That's so true, Andrea. So yeah, thanks. Let me end it off with this then, guys. I just want to say thanks, Dr. Kate, for being here. And we really enjoyed the talk. And I think we're all going to follow your journey and see see where Lego's going.
My pleasure. That was really fun. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the great questions.
Yeah, no, that was thanks, Andrea. That was good. And then everyone viewing from offline or viewing online, thanks for being here and thanks for listening in. We'll see you again next week. And if I'm correct, I think Landi will be joining us next week. So we'll see you guys next week then. Thanks, Kate, and thanks to all the viewers.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
Kate.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Love
Have
your
a great
work.
week.